The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right, folks. Good morning. We'll get started here in about 30 seconds. Just going to see if a few more folks join us. Okay. So, my name is Jim Logue, and I'm here to spend 30-40 minutes with you this morning, talk to you about AutoCAD 2019. You hear that called a few things, Only One or AutoCAD One. We here at MESA happen to call it the AST, the AutoCAD with Specialized Toolsets, but that's really not necessarily true for everybody. So I definitely want to try to make that distinction of what you get depending who you are. And if I fail miserably at that, then please contact your MESA sales engineer, and they can shine some light on who gets what. So, main topics for today that we're going to cover is these specialized tool sets that I was talking about. You can't just buy AutoCAD anymore. You know, if you wanted to contact us and say, hey, give me a new seat of AutoCAD, you don't get AutoCAD by itself anymore. All new seats come with these specialized tool sets, which is essentially 7 verticals bundled together with base AutoCAD. So more on that in a few minutes. The other thing we're going to touch on is some of the more, I guess, tightly knit or integrated web and mobile functionality built into AutoCAD. And finally, some of the latest enhancements, maybe 3 items there that we'll touch on. So that's where we're heading today. Before we jump into that, kind of like to get to know the audience a little bit. So I do have a few polls that I'd like to have you answer. There'll be about 6 questions here that are going to pop up. I'll give you about 15 seconds or so to answer these questions. So the first one is what version of AutoCAD do you use? Just trying to get a feel for who's using what. Mm-hmm. Yeah, looks like we got a bunch of, I'll say 17 and prior. Probably about 3/4 of the folks are 17 and prior. Looks like maybe my poll is missing 18, but yeah, we're right about 75% are 2017 and prior. Okay, let's try another. Do you use any of the add-ons here with AutoCAD, or are you just straight up AutoCAD vanilla? Interesting. Now that's a pretty good one. About 50% are using mechanical, about 45% just straight up vanilla AutoCAD, and then we have some MEP and Raster folks there also. So makes a lot of sense. Our customer base really focuses on the mechanical side of the house, so I can see why you might be using mechanical. But hopefully you understand some of the benefits of the verticals, and you'll see where the specialized tool sets just give you more access to all these tools. All right, let's try another poll. These are just some questions that I have. I'm looking for ideas for future webinars, and curious if you're familiar with dynamic blocks and use them, maybe even how to build them. Fairly recent functionality, maybe 4 or 5 years old in the AutoCAD world, but allows one block to act as many. So wow, we are right down the middle. One more vote. We need one more vote because we're at 50-50 right now. Who's holding out? All right, we're going to call it. We are 50-50 using dynamic blocks there. Here's some other functionality that's in AutoCAD. Again, it's been around for maybe 4 or 5 releases. This is constraints, geometric constraints, and parameters for your two-dimensional line work in AutoCAD. If you've used a product called Inventor or some of the competing products, Pro-E, SolidWorks, you're familiar with parameters and constraints. But AutoCAD actually has some of that functionality on the 2D side built into it. But not a lot of folks use it. And kind of judging from our poll, about 2/3 do not use it. So, and it's not for everybody. Don't be sad that you don't. If you know about it, it's pretty powerful stuff. So, yep, 2/3 are not using constraints or parameters. All right, final 2 more. I'm sorry. This one is on the mobile side. Don't know if anyone has used the mobile app at all for AutoCAD. Called up a DWG file, started a new DWG file from your mobile browser or your web browser. Again, this functionality has been around for several releases. I will tell you that here in 2019, I feel it's gotten much tighter, much of a cleaner integration. You'll see with a couple of the new commands of open from web or save from web, it's a lot simpler to use this functionality. So hopefully I'll make a case for it to show you some value. So 70% are not using a web or mobile app for AutoCAD. All right, so there's some things there that might be of value to you. And then the final question is something that I'd like to do today because I think this is pretty awesome. But have you ever made a custom tool palette in AutoCAD? Okay. And 55% of you said, yes, you sure have made a custom tool palette. So right around half and half. So might be some things you pick up there. For those of you who have made them, probably you see that the value in them, they are pretty awesome. And again, I'll shine some light on there in my last segment of oldies but goodies. Okay. So back to the PowerPoint here. We'll get that out of the way and we'll jump into the live product and show you some stuff. So I want to focus on what we mean by specialized tool sets. And I really want to make sure that you're aware of who gets specialized tool sets. So here's my 30-second explanation. If you purchase a new seat of AutoCAD, that means you're a subscriber. As you all well know that you cannot buy and own licenses of any Autodesk product now, you are a subscriber. If you become a new subscriber to AutoCAD, you will automatically get specialized tool sets. You cannot become a new subscriber and just get AutoCAD. It's not sold that way anymore for any new users. So you automatically get specialized tool sets. If you are a old legacy, whether it's still using perpetual licenses or did your maintenance to subscription, that is officially not a new subscriber. So the specialized tool sets you will not have access to, and you will only just have your base AutoCAD. All right. So what are those specialized tool sets that we're talking about? Well, for those new subscribers in 2019, in fact, they call 2019 the subscribers release. So new subscribers get these industry-specific verticals that AutoCAD was selling, Autodesk was selling: mechanical, architectural, electrical, map, MEP, plant, and raster, along with base AutoCAD. So a ton of functionality. Just going to spend about 10 seconds on each of these if you're not familiar with them. AutoCAD Mechanical has hundreds of thousands of blocks built into it, and you can use those blocks to quickly create your drawings. You have functionality that you can do ballooning and create bills of materials. It manages your dimensions differently than base AutoCAD. It kind of handles a lot of stuff for you. If you really truly embrace and use AutoCAD Mechanical to its fullest, it's a pretty powerful tool. You'll hate using base AutoCAD, and that really goes with any of these verticals. You know, if you can really embrace them and use them for the fullest, they're great add-ons. What a lot of folks end up doing is, hey, I'm just going to grab Mechanical for the block library, and then just use base AutoCAD for everything else, and that's sometimes okay too. But I will say that if you can fully embrace these tool sets, they're pretty awesome. So Architectural handles residential and commercial architectural stuff. It's a 3D based package where you model things three-dimensionally, so you can work in plan view and give things the Z or the third dimension. You can cut sections, do elevation views of your model, and it'll create those views automatically. Updates if your model changes, your views change. So they're pretty powerful. There's functionality for stair generators, railings, floors, and these aren't just walls or extruded solids. They're actual wall elements in AutoCAD. Those wall elements have intelligence to them that they break for doors and windows, and will drag the doors and windows along with them if they're moved, things of that nature. So a lot of functionality specific to residential and commercial construction. The AutoCAD Electrical functionality is some schematics. This is basically a 2D package, but it's electrical controls. And I really want to make that distinction. Think of mechanical controls, machinery controls. This product is for laying out those controls, and even panel layouts you can use AutoCAD Electrical for. So we're doing these diagrams, has all these symbols. These aren't just libraries of symbols. These are intelligent symbols. They have wires associated with them, pairs associated with them. You can understand what's connected to what. It's much more in-depth than just a block library. There's a product called Map 3D that combines both CAD and GIS information that you can do queries on to find out information about your parcel or area or city or town, depending on what kind of queries that you might be doing on your model. So it's again a CAD, and combines both CAD and GIS data into one application. So it's pretty neat if you're doing that. There's MEP. So this goes hand in hand maybe with the architectural functionality, that if you need to put in mechanical systems, plumbing or electrical, again, you can work three-dimensionally, you can work two-dimensionally, but you've got this 3D model that you can check for interferences and do sections and do sizing and analysis and things of that nature on your model. So it's pretty useful stuff. But the difference between this E here in MEP is for architectural related things in the residential and commercial world, versus the AutoCAD Electrical was machinery controls. Plant 3D. So Plant 3D incorporates P&IDs. There used to be a separate product actually called AutoCAD P&ID. That is no longer. It's become part of Plant 3D, but the functionality is all there. So Plant 3D, you can do P&IDs and have those be the basis for your plant, your 3D model of your plant. And you can create schematics, plant layouts, ISO gens of your piping. So this is more of the industrial. So again, going back to MEP for a second, you heard plumbing, the P for plumbing there. But really think about that plumbing as far as residential and commercial level construction. And you can definitely get bigger than that in MEP, but really plant is the big stuff, the industrial stuff, the factories, 30-inch diameter stuff, 20-inch diameter stuff. That's where plant is its niche. Okay, and the raster design tool set. So if you've ever needed to bring some legacy files in, you're tired of having those rolls of drawings around, and you want to be able to scan those in and maybe bring those into a drawing, maybe keep them as raster, but clean them up, despeckle them, deskew it, straighten it out, make it a little bit more legible. Raster gives you some tools to edit those raster images, still keeping them raster images. Or there might be pieces that, we're going to convert this to vector objects because we want to use this as our base map to start some renovations or new construction in this area. So you could convert those rastered images into vector AutoCAD objects that you can manipulate. So raster gives you that functionality. So hopefully you got a little bit better idea of the 7 verticals that you get in the specialized tool sets. Again, if you're a new subscriber. And just to kind of give a comparison, this slide sort of shows if you were in AutoCAD, the steps it would take for you to make a wall. And if you were, make a wall and put a window in it. And if you were in the architectural tool set, the steps it would take. So it's just it's a purpose-built tool set. It's right for the job. It has libraries and things, and it really can save you time and do things a lot better and efficiently. These different tool sets. All right. So the second topic we're going to touch on, and we're going to go live with this in a little bit, is the web and mobile apps. There is really just a beginning to end, from a phone to a tablet to a laptop to your workstation, any place that you can access the internet, you can access your DWG file. So that's what functionality they've given us here. And that functionality has been around for a while. They dabbled in it with the A360 accounts and things like that, but it just was cumbersome, confusing, and it's a lot tighter now. So, because, you don't need sleep, we figure that you should be able to work anytime, anywhere, on any device, and they give you that functionality here with the web and mobile apps. So we're going to go out and show you what we're talking about with that here shortly. In a nutshell, you can go to a site called web.autocad.com as long as you have a Autodesk account. So that's what you need, is an Autodesk account. You can log in, and you're able to actually create new drawings from this website. And when you create that new drawing, you can save it. Then from inside of AutoCAD, you can actually open from the web. So there's 2 new commands inside of AutoCAD. One is to open from the web. The other is to save to the web. And gives you that sort of tighter integration with these apps. So we'll show you that here in a little bit. I do not have sort of the abilities to show you my phone through this presentation, but if you can get to the web link or URL, if you will, on your phone or your tablet, you can do the same things. Not just view DWG files, but actually create and edit and share those files via your mobile app as well as a web app. All right. Again, these are the new commands. the save to AutoCAD from the web or the open from AutoCAD from the web. All right, and finally, the latest enhancements. And maybe let me just back up for 1 second and say that regardless if you're a subscriber or not, the web and mobile functionality is still there, and these latest enhancements are still there. So it's really just that first specialized tool sets, those 7 verticals, that you won't get if you are not a new subscriber. All right, so just a couple latest enhancements, nothing very earth-shattering. Some of this functionality actually existed in some of the verticals. They brought it to core AutoCAD now. This one's called DWG Compare. It's pretty awesome. We've actually used to do this in a product called Bluebeam, where we could compare PDFs to try to understand what was different, but this does it all right inside of AutoCAD now. There's some new functionality on the collaboration tab called DWG Compare, where it takes a file that I select and compares it to the current file, and I can control colors and have it highlight with revision cloud areas and things like that, so it will show me what's new in that file. The second new thing is called shared views. So shared views is, think of this as a collaboration tool with the ability these days to literally get a PDF. If that PDF was created from AutoCAD, I could probably import that PDF and feel pretty confident that it was going to convert it to vector AutoCAD objects. So your proprietary information isn't as sacred as it once was with PDFs. Well, this shared views functionality kind of allows me to still maintain my DWG file, and I might need people to collaborate and look at a drawing or views of a drawing and let them mark it up, let them comment on different things, but I don't really want to give them the files. Maybe they haven't paid you yet, so you don't want to give away the farm. So you can use this shared view functionality that allows the collaboration, and that shared views opens up in a web browser. So it's called the Autodesk Viewer that opens up, and you can essentially, it's a free viewer, anybody can have it, and allows you to navigate around, zoom, look at views, and mark up, take measurements, things of that nature of the files. And again, it's not a DWG, it's lightweight, it's like a snapshot view of the area that you've taken. So, and then you got a panel that you can make comments on and things like that. So great for collaboration and not having to give DWGs. Some enhancements made to the user interface. They've really tried to just simplify it, streamline it. Probably the best way to show you that is here in the middle. If you look at these two ribbons, this top ribbon here is the 2018 ribbon. This bottom one here is the 2019 ribbon. So nothing earth-shattering, but they've just sort of tried to simplify the graphics, make things a little bit more eye-pleasing, got rid of some of the gradient tone fills and things of that nature on some of these icons. One of the ones that I will point out that, if you're like me and use the offset command religiously, that one is probably the one that its shape has changed. So if you're used to seeing this for offset, it's now this. And that took me a little bit getting used to here. But, so they've made some changes in that regards. And the other new thing that we'll show you a little bit later is views. So if you're familiar with saving views in AutoCAD, that's been around for a while. But what I can do with those views is I have this tool to insert that view right into Paperspace. So that's pretty neat stuff. We're going to show you all this stuff, I promise. All right. So without promising any more, let's start talking about a few of those new things. Let's begin with maybe the DWG Compare. So right now I've got this floor plan, and it's Rev 1. I'm going to go ahead and make a few changes to this floor plan and make it Rev 2. For instance, I might want to erase some furniture here. And I might want to add a window, or maybe we'll just stretch this window here. How about we stretch the window down, relocate it. So not really adding it, just modifying this wall and window. And maybe we'll go ahead and copy the outlet and put maybe 2 more of those on. So I've erased some things, I've added some things, I've modified some things. I've done that all in that one area. So maybe just to change something in another area, I'll erase this outlet over here. And I will edit this piece of text here. All right. So that's my Rev 2. So I want to save that as Rev 2. And we'll just call it Rev 2. All right. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to make the Rev 1 be the file that I have open. All right, so you see you got the 4 chairs there and other things. So that's the file I have open. And I want to use that DWG Compare tool that I was talking about. So it's up here in the Collaborate. And we'll do a DWG Compare. And it's going to compare my current file, Rev 1, with whatever file I choose. In this case, it'll be Rev 2. And I have the ability now or later to change the color. You know, if it makes a little more sense to me, I can do it again here or down the road of what's unique in that particular file. But let's go ahead and run a compare. And what this does while it's firing up there, it actually creates a new file for you. And if you look up here in your tabs, it created a file called Compare, small houses, blah, 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 1 and 2. And it uses your color scheme that you chose to anything that's unique in drawing 1 will be blue. Anything that's unique in drawing 2 will be red. And anything that's common to both will be gray. So it kind of shows you right there with some revision cloud outlines. If you can't see the colors enough, it kind of highlights for you. And it gives you some tools up here that give you the ability, hey, do you want to check text or not? So you could actually toggle the text off so it's not even comparing text. If you had hatch patterns that were different, do you want to toggle those on or off? So I have this one hatch pattern in here that it's not even looking at. But it was gray anyway, so there was no difference. You can toggle your revision clouds on and off. Maybe the color's enough for you. And you can go ahead and cycle through your 4 changes here. So it'll show them to you. There's 1, there's another, there's the 3rd, there's the 4th. So, you know, a nice little tool here is what this functionality brings to the table. Not only that, you can do this drawing information. If you want to document this, you can say, I did a comparison between Rev 1 and Rev 2. I want to actually kind of capture that snapshot in time here and put a little chart in the file that kind of tells me what I'm comparing, what I'm looking at, what the date and times are, blah, blah, blah. And I can, again, this is a separate file. I literally can save this file, and it's its own DWG file that I can have. All right. After the fact, if you don't like the colors, they might be too hard to see, you could change those even after the fact. All right. So that's DWG Compare. Not bad functionality. All right. So back to the drawing we were talking about. Let's tackle the shared view functionality. So the shared view functionality, again, this is that collaboration functionality that allows you to save views and send them to somebody. You can invite people to these views, have them look at it. Maybe we're just going to focus on the pantry here, this area. And again, I'm still in that Collaborate tab. I'm going to do a shared view. Shared view will pop up with this palette. So in order for this functionality to work, you must have internet connection. And if you're not logged in, it's going to ask you to log into your Autodesk account for this functionality to work. All right, so you do need an Autodesk account for shared views to work. These shared views are valid for 30 days. You can extend that time, but by default it's 30 days. So in order to create one, I just hit the button up top for shared view. I'm going to call this one 7-9, I think it is. We're going with that. July 9th, small house A Rev 1. And basically I'm just going to take the current view and I want to make that my shared view. So I'll go ahead and hit shared. Now it'll process in the background, so I'll hit proceed and I'll show you down here in the status bar. It's processing down there. So it'll take depending on how busy your view is, it could take 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds. But it will eventually pop up with a notification that it's done. And once I get that notification, it's not showing up yet in my palette, but I just need to run a refresh here. And there's my 7-9 small house A revision 1. So at this point, I can collaborate with this. Well, first off, I can open it in the browser. So I can just hit this little link. And this is that free Autodesk viewer that I was talking to you about. So you can, anybody can have this free viewer. If you sign in, you get a little bit extra functionality for commenting and things like that. But even if you don't have that, you can view. And there's some tools down here to measure. So maybe I want to zoom in here. I want to do some measurement with this viewer and find out how far it is from here to here. Looks like that's 35 inches. You can do some markup. And there's different things that you can do to mark up and put text in to make notes, things of that nature. When you do all these changes, you want to go ahead and hit save, and it saves your view in this viewer. Okay, so this is the again, this is that functionality that when we used to send PDFs to people, they never had access to my information or my data. They kind of do now with that PDF functionality that imports the shared views, kind of get you around for that. Again, back in AutoCAD, in your share view palette, you can actually come this view. You can view from browser from here. You can actually copy this link and email it to somebody to invite them to be able to see this particular view. Again, they can mark it up, comments, what have you. Here's where you can extend the time. By default, it's 30 days per view, but you could extend that if needed be, and you can delete them. So you manage it all here from within AutoCAD in this shared views palette. All right, so nice little collaboration tool. The next tool that I want to touch on is the web functionality. Again, I'm going to just kind of focus on the web functionality because I really can't show you my phone here. First things I'll point out is up here in your quick access toolbar is you have the ability to open from the web and save to the web. All right, so if you're going to kind of have a file out there and you want to keep it out there and that be the main file, you want to always make sure you're opening and saving to and from the web here, whether you're your desktop or whatever other app you might be using. So maybe to kind of take it to that process here, the website that you want to go to is web.autocad.com. All right, and again, you'll need an Autodesk account in order to get access to this. So it logged me in already, and I can create a new drawing. So I'm just yeah, AutoCAD's open in the background, but that really has nothing to do with it. I'm on the web right now. I'm in my web browser, and I can hit new drawing. And let's call this one 7-9, today's webinar. Good enough. I'm going to go with inches. And we're going to hit open. And that quickly gets you access to the online version of AutoCAD. You've got some tools down here in the bottom left. By no means is this full-blown AutoCAD, right? But it does give you the ability to draw stuff, not only just draw stuff, but draw stuff accurately. So if I want a 200-inch line at 45 degrees, just like I would with polar coordinates inside of AutoCAD, I can do that. I've got tools down here to put text in, dimensions in. I've got move functionality where I can move things. There's snaps built in. You can offset. So you really kind of work down this bottom left corner is all your functionality. This is an empty file, so I don't have any layers or anything, but if there were layers created, line types, you can look at properties, if I had views created. So going to keep it really that simple. Maybe just to show you, there's some tools up here for navigation, but your wheel works just as well. All right, so at this point, I'm just going to come over here and save this file, since we added some stuff to it, and maybe even just get out of it here. We're just saving it and closing it down here from the web. So back in AutoCAD, I want to go ahead and do an open from web. And got this 7-9 today's webinar. So I can open that up directly here. And that's my file. I know it's not very impressive, but I can essentially modify things here. I can add things here. I can do whatever I need to do, and not just save. If I save, it's going to save it local. If I wanted to, and keep that web one as the most current one, I want to save this back to the web. And I want to call it this guy. All right. So just to kind of round trip this for you here real quick, if I shut this guy down and we go back to our new tab here to get into the web, should be able to find that file and open it up. All right, and you'll see that saved to the web, saved that file out to my site. So again, the functionality isn't totally new, but I think the tightness of it is a lot smoother and cleaner and easier with this open to web and save to web tools. So that's the new stuff that you'll see there. Probably one of the other, or the last kind of new thing in AutoCAD that I wanted to show you was some functionality here that to be able to save views. You may or may not be aware of the ability to save a view. For instance, this pantry area here, I might want to go ahead and create a new view, and I'll call it pantry. And this functionality right here has been around forever. So this piece of it is not new. So we'll call it a pantry. We want to define the window, and we'll just put a window from about here to here. All right. And that creates this pantry view. And I can easily bounce back and forth between the different views here, the master bedroom, the kitchen, and the pantry. Or if you're more familiar with using these tools over here, if you've got any custom views created, you can jump to the pantry and it'll take you to that view. Again, that functionality isn't all that impressive. That's been around for a while. But what they did do with these save views is they've made that the ability to make viewports out of those saved views. So now that I'm in Paperspace, if I go to my Layout tab, I get this option to insert views, and I can drop my pantry view in onto my sheet. So any of those saved views. So that's that insert view tool is of value. All right. That is essentially the live demo of the new stuff in AutoCAD 2019. I did have maybe a few oldies but goodies that I like to kind of leave with. I like to show a little bit about tool palettes, like to show a little bit about the design center. Definitely those few things. So let's see. Let's talk a little bit about the good old design center for starters. If you're not familiar with something called a design center, I hope after today's webinar that you are. This tool, and I'm on the View tab, Palettes panel, Design Center. This tool allows you to, what I say, leverage things from other files without those files having to even be open. And when I say leverage, essentially it's steel, but it could be blocks, it could be styles, dimension styles, layout tabs that are configured, layers, any of these different categories that you see here. I have access to those categories in any drawing file that I can surf and find over here on my hard drive or network. Okay, so for instance, if I was after, we'll take a look at the bank layout file. So this is a bank layout DWG file. And if I single click on the blocks, these are the blocks that are in that file. If I wanted one of those blocks in this current file, it's a simple drag and drop. So maybe I want this PWCF. Drag and drop it, lay it in there. So again, that file is not open. That bank layout-a file isn't open. I'm able to view in it without it being open and access stuff that's in it and drag and drop it onto my current file. Same with layers. You know, maybe let's see. There's a stair layer here. I bet this current file does not have a layer called stairs. And if that's the case, maybe that stair layer has a color and a line type and a line weight and all that fun stuff associated with it. So all I got to do is drag and drop stairs, and now that stair layer is in this file. Okay, at whatever color, whatever line type it was in the previous file. And let me just say that it doesn't bring objects in. It doesn't bring all the objects that was on the stair layer in that file. It just brings that layer in. Saves you from creating it. Layout tabs. If you have a layout tab with a title block and the size and everything already set up, don't go create the wheel. Use Design Center. You can see down here I have a proposed and a layout 1. Well, drag and drop. Now I got details. And whatever was on that tab, not only the size of it, but even this title block that was on there, it did bring that object over. Okay, sheet size and whatever was on the layout tab itself. So pretty useful functionality here is the Design Center. Highly recommend getting familiar with Design Center. The final thing I'd like to leave you with is customizing making your own tool palette. And the ability to make your own tool palette is really, really easy. So all we've got to do is open up the tool palette command. So again, we're back on the View tab, and I'm going to go to Tool Palettes here. So this is the out-of-the-box AutoCAD tool palettes. And the functionality here with this is the fact that, it's just a sampling. Like, this is by no means a complete library of, in this case, mechanical things. But what you can do is definitely use whatever's here just by dragging and dropping them onto your drawing. Maybe on the architectural tab, if there's something I wanted, like this toilet. In the toilets here today for some reason. You can bring the toilet in. This toilet happens to be a dynamic block, so you can actually change it from an elevation view to a plan view, and you can get that block to show up that way. But more importantly, I want to make my own. Maybe there are some blocks here like this window, or maybe this outlet. There's some things that I'd like, or maybe some even AutoCAD commands that I use all the time that I want on my own little tab here every time I'm in AutoCAD. So on any of these tabs, just go ahead and right click and say New Palette. And of course this will be 7-9. And it's an empty palette right now. So if I want to put blocks on there, it's essentially as simple as dragging and dropping. So don't grab the grip. Just click and drag on the block without the grip and drop it onto your palette. And same with this other one. Click and drag it without the grip, and you've populated your palette. You can right click here. You can add separators to kind of help organize things. You can actually add text. Maybe this will be my commands. So you can kind of organize this thing however you want. And then I can actually get to the AutoCAD custom commands, and maybe I get in here and all I really use is the line command. Not being very creative here. So I use the line command. So I find the plain old AutoCAD line command, click and drag it, drop it onto my palette. And you can do that with any of the commands you want. Maybe there's the new center line command, and you can just surf through and find whatever you need here. So when I say OK, if I want a new outlet, click and drag and drop a new outlet from my palette. Want a new window, click and drag and put a new window in. If you want to do the line command, you can click here. You can see it actually gives you a flyout for lines and polylines and splines. So I'll just click regular old line, and you'll see that happened down in my command line, that I'm in the line command, and I'm able to draw. So it's very simple to create these palettes, or these tabs in these palettes. And again, the nice part about this is there for good. For every AutoCAD drawing you're in from now on, this palette will be there. So that's usually pretty beneficial. All right. So that takes me to the wrap here. If you folks have any questions, please, for starters, what we'd like to do for this webinar, if you have any questions, go ahead in the chat window, and you can submit any questions via the chat window. What I typically like to do is, sometime I have to do a little research or something like that, and I will email you specifically, or the whole group, the answers to any questions that we might have. But I'd be more than happy to get that out to you. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, so I don't know if I'll have a quick answer here at this second. But if you don't fill the chat window in, by all means, here is my email, and you may email me. Oops, sorry about that. Went to the wrong slide there. Here is my email, and feel free to drop me an email, and I can respond to whatever questions you may have. I appreciate you spending 50 minutes with me here this morning. Hope you got a good feeling of what's new in AutoCAD 2019, what the AutoCAD 1, or what we here at MESA call the AutoCAD Specialized Toolset is, and who gets it. Again, you new subscribers get it. And obviously some of the old functionality that's been around too. Again, thanks for your time, and good luck with AutoCAD.